Welcome to Wellness with Purpose.
Whoever is listening, I am 51 years old. I get it. But I am complaining about my own generation and younger. Like, we don't understand resilience like the older generation. I feel like what I've learned as a business owner is you are constantly trying and failing and then getting back up and trying something different and failing. And then, and eventually something starts to work. And I'll tell you, as a business owner, sometimes we get bombarded with information about AI. And it's hard for us to decipher what is relevant to us, what's important, because there's so much, again, just like healthcare knowledge, you get bombarded with taking this supplement, trying this, how are you supposed to, as a consumer, decide what information is the most relevant, the most important? Those surgeries all happened in my 20s. So I was still early on in my PT career. I also had surgeries. Most of my knee patients have had injuries in high school and in their 20s. And, I'm now seeing them now and how it impacts their ability to garden or play tennis or hang out with their children or hike with their kids because of their knee issues. So, but yes, I think if it happened later, it would have been even more impactful.
Welcome back to Wellness with Purpose, and I'm your host, Queenal. And today's guest is one of those people where the more you learn about her, the more you think, how has more people not heard about this? She is a physical therapist with over 26 years of experience. She specializes in knee replacement surgery. She is a board certified in geriatric physical therapy, and she had 3 knee surgeries herself. She built her first prototype from the hardware store supplies, and her program is now reaching patients on 5 continents. Meet Shehla Rooney, founder and CEO of GoKnee. And honestly, someone doing something really special in the world of healthcare. Shehla, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. What a wonderful introduction, and I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I love that. I feel that, of course, the reaction of someone who's still a little surprised by how far this has gone.
Yeah, sometimes I don't do that recap, right? I don't do the recap for myself. And then as you were doing it, I was like, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, that's me. So, okay, let's start at the beginning. You were born in England and then you raised in Canada and ended up in Tennessee. So that's already a whole journey before even we get into the career. What drew you to the physical therapy in the first place? Was this always a plan?
Oh, that's a great question. For the people that may be listening and not viewing, my ethnicity is Pakistani, and so in my household, it was driven very early about career paths. It was something from the time you were little, and medicine and healthcare is a big, it's big in the Pakistani community. I didn't want to be a doctor, which is the path they want. I wanted to be more in tune with interacting with patients. I wanted more one-on-one contact. I also didn't want to be in school forever. I wanted to have a nice work-life balance. I knew I wanted to get married and have children. And I also played a lot of sports growing up. And so I was introduced to sports medicine, physical therapists, physiotherapists, as they call it. And so that's kind of how I started. And I chose that path early on, probably in middle school. And then I just continued to pursue it all throughout high school until I got into college.
Wow. I think this was a been calling since when you were a kid. Is it? Am I right?
I think so. And it's interesting because I thought I wanted to do sports medicine because I was an athlete, but even from a young age and in the cultural, we spent a lot of time with our elders, right? With our grandparents and the older uncles and aunties and stuff. And so I don't think I realized my passion for the geriatric population. I kind of resisted it early on in my career, but out of the 26 years I've been practicing, I mean, probably 24 of it has been with geriatrics and the older adult. So yeah, I do think, I think looking back, I absolutely loved that population. I loved being around the older adults, the wisdom, the conversations, the experience. So yeah.
Yeah. So my next question was around the geriatric physical therapy, of course, that you just mentioned. And it is a very specifically. So it's just about that, like you said, that you wanted to be around with them. So apart from that, what was about that population that made you go deeper into this?
So interesting. I think that the geriatric population is never just one single problem. So if somebody comes to me, even if they are a knee replacement, they've had a shoulder problem, they've had a back surgery, they have atrial fibrillation, they're on blood thinners. Like, it's such a complicated case. Every single individual, like, over the age of 50, 55, they're on medications, they have other diagnoses, they've had other surgical histories. And I just love the critical thinking that is required with the older adult, because it's never one problem, even a fall, or a hip fracture. Why did the fall happen? Did they get dizzy? Did their blood pressure drop? Was it a balance issue? So I just love the complexity of the older adult. It requires me to think a lot and use all of my skills and all of my knowledge and everything that I've learned. And that brings me joy.
And also there is something about the generation that they don't complain, they don't push through. Maybe someone like you who can actually push them through what they have been going through. Wonderful.
You are exactly right. Let me just tell you, if and again, whoever is listening, I am 51 years old. I get it. But I am complaining about my own generation and younger. Like, we don't understand resilience like the older generation do. They don't complain. They do the work. It is unbelievable the results that I will get with an 80-year-old compared to a 45-year-old. It's crafts or match their work ethic. Yes.
Yeah. So here's a part I want to understand, because this is where it gets very personal. You have had 3 knee surgeries yourself. So what was this experience was like? Because I imagine being a physical therapist and going through this surgery is a very different experience than being a regular patient.
Yes, you are correct. I will say, though, those surgeries all happened in my 20s. So I was still early on in my PT career. I think if it happened now, I mean, any injury that happens now, I'm so aware of how it affects everything. My being a mother, my being a wife, my being a business owner. But in my 20s, I was young and invincible. And so even the rehab part of it, I think I flew through it. Like, everything was easy. Even wearing a brace, you can get around so well because you're young and you're healthy and mobile and you're strong and you're limber. But yes, I think that it does give you a perspective, because I do have aches and pains now. I do have arthritis now, so I can still sympathize and empathize with my current individuals, because I also had surgeries. Most of my knee patients have had injuries in high school and in their 20s. And, I'm now seeing them now and how it impacts their ability to garden or play tennis or hang out with their children or hike with their kids because of their knee issues. So, but yes, I think if it happened later, it would have been even more impactful. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So you knew you were exactly what was happening, and it was, of course, it was hard, but not as hard it might be if it would have happened now. But at least you would have more awareness as of today, as you're saying. So, yeah. So, about the origin of the GoKnee, I have read a little about it, but I want to hear from you, because I think the details always get me that you build the first prototype from the hardware store material. So, can you walk me to that moment? And who was the patient, of course?
Yeah, well, let me tell you, it always starts with a problem, right? So there was a patient who had knee replacement, and he was healthy and young and motivated and compliant and, all the things that should lead to a successful outcome after knee replacement surgery, which is an elective procedure. The patient chooses to have it, to make their life better. And he was doing everything right, and his knee just wasn't progressing. And, no disrespect to the surgeon, but the surgeon's response was, "No worries. I'll see you in about another month or so. We'll do another procedure to fix it." I mean, this patient didn't want another procedure. Now, I won't take credit at all. One of my colleagues, very creative mindset. She's a builder. She tinkers with things. She was like, "We need to figure out something that can mimic our hands, that he can then take home, and he could do the things that we do with our hands in the clinic." And so, local hardware store put together something, showed him how to use it that looked like our hands, and sent him home with it. And as they say, everything else after that is history. It worked. He avoided a bowel procedure. And we were like, whoa, maybe we're doing this therapy at home wrong. Maybe we should give them some more aggressive techniques to do at home like we did for him. Maybe everybody could have a better outcome even before they have problems. And so that's kind of how GoKnee started, was just trying to solve a problem for one individual.
I mean, yes, I mean, you really went to the hardware store from a medical device and it worked, as you say, it worked. So just, I want,
What's interesting is what we built at the very beginning, the prototype, it
Mhm.
really has not changed significantly. We've tried to change it and look more substantial, more, impressive, use different materials, but honest to goodness, it is so close to the original prototype we made, which I'm now learning in the medical device world is usually not the case. What you start with is not what you end with, but really what we created at the beginning was really good.
something analog, if I must say. People are moving to analog devices right now.
I love it. I love it.
So let's talk about the GoKnee, which is actually today, because I think people might be picturing something complicated. If someone is listening or just had like a total knee replacement, or just something who who does GoKnee give them like a make maybe they might be understanding it's just like a standard physical therapy or might not. So what are you gonna say to them?
Okay. So GoKnee is a simple, lightweight device. People would describe it as like a pool ladder. It looks like PVC and pool noodle. I get it. It looks very
Yeah.
simple. But what GoKnee is a device combined with a very advanced but easy to follow exercise program. So
Uh,
a team of therapists came together. We looked at all the research. We even spanned across different patient populations, meaning one of the creators also had a sports medicine, and she worked with elite athletes. So she took components of that. I took components of the older adult body. We combined all the things that work with different patient populations and created this advanced program. But I think the biggest thing is what you do at home matters more than what you do with me in the PT clinic 2 or 3 times a week. So that's what I would say. GoKnee is an advanced home program that gives you step-by-step instructions on what to do, how to do it, how long to do it, why you're doing it. And if you do that at home multiple times per day, that's why you have the faster recovery. Simple.
Wonderful. So like it's not the replacing the PT, but it's giving the patient to ability to do the work in between or maybe the multiples day at home.
Yes, it's like it complements physical therapy, but it's like the home program. So something that you're doing every day, it would replace your traditional home exercise program that's on a piece of paper. Do 10 of this, 3 sets, whatever. It would replace that. I will tell you that now that I've been doing the knees, a lot of patients have told me over the years they're scared of physical therapy. Some can't afford the physical therapy copays.
Yeah.
Some don't have someone to drive them to physical therapy. So, I mean, to me, there's lots of things that I have learned since starting GoKnee that I realized a lot of patients want to do their therapy on their own. Remember, it's an elective procedure. They're choosing to do it. So if they can do most of it at home, it's actually quite desirable for them.
And you have already mentioned that you have done a clinical research on this. And I've been reading that you have presented it on the World's Conference Dubai in 2023. And that's not a small thing. So what does this actually show? And what do you want to show or maybe tell the healthcare providers to better understand?
I want to tell them that care providers are very slow to change. They don't like to change how they're doing things. But what GoKnee does, it expedites the knee range of motion gains immediately after surgery, meaning with GoKnee, you will get faster bending and flexion and extension than with the traditional therapy technique. And faster range of motion gains means the increased motivation from the patient, increased compliance with the program with the patient, increased satisfaction, and faster functional gains. So I'm not worried about them walking and doing all these things, but if I can get their knee bending and straightening fully, quicker, then everything else comes back, everything falls into place easier. Everything becomes better for the patient and for the healthcare provider. So that's what the research showed. The research showed that GoKnee's program resulted in faster range of motion gains earlier in the post-operative recovery phase.
So yeah, because that's a part I think it gets overlooked. And you have shown the real data behind this. So it's not just a great idea, but it's a proven one. And now you have customers all around like 46 states, Canada, Australia, UK, France, and Eastern Africa.
Yeah,
So,
Japan, Thailand. I mean, yeah.
where-
I will
and
tell you
how,
that what happens in the United States is not what happens all over the world, right? Like a lot of these countries around the world, the government has to pay for the therapy. The government is responsible for the recovery. So, in the United States, it's a monetized system, but around the world, it's not. So I have more barriers I have to overcome in the United States where I live. But around the world, individuals want something they can do on their own because they have nobody else to provide it. So I love the international aspect. I never expected that GoKnee would be so easily, adopted around the world. I just really didn't even, it's pretty amazing.
and what that kind of a reach mean to you personally?
Yeah. Such a great question. Sometimes I forget and I have to stop and I hear people say this, but it is profound. I mean, I was a great physical therapist well before GoKnee. I excelled at my profession. I did great. I had good outcomes, but my impact was small. It was just the individuals I saw every day in this community. So to be able to talk to someone not only in another state, like today I talked to someone in California and Pennsylvania, but last week I talked to a gentleman in the United Kingdom. I talked to somebody in Africa, like in Kenya. It is amazing to me because it's just global. Your knee pain is your knee pain. How it affects your life looks a little bit different, but it affects your life. The fear of knee replacement recovery, it's global. They're all scared of the surgery. They're scared. Are they going to get the outcome they want? It crosses all cultures, all languages, and all, it's pretty amazing. It is. I'm quite proud of that work for sure.
One, of course, because that kind of a answer that tells you everything why you do what you do. So it was never about the devices.
It was never about the devices. And honestly, my dream would be that I could talk to patients every day on the phone and or Zoom with them and talk about their knees and what is their knee keeping them from doing, because that is why GoKnee was created. It wasn't yet the faster recovery. It was so that, this lady in Africa can walk to her job because she doesn't have a car, and she can't work if she can walk. And if she doesn't work, her children can't go to school. I mean, that's profound, right? Yeah.
You're making a lot of difference in so many lives. Wonderful, wonderful, Shehla. So now I wanted to talk about some hard stuff. So I was reading like between the March 2020, you have been, it was a real brutal for the GoKnee. You have like 30 independent reps in like 26 states. And the research was done, the patent was moving, and then the COVID hits and the elective knee surgery just stopped. So what did you do? I mean, what was a month actually like for you?
Oh, it was rough. And I can't even, looking back, even that 1 or 2 months after that COVID was coming out, we had no idea how long it was going to last and the impact it was going to have. But you're right. I mean, the research came out about 3 months before COVID. I quit my job that was paying my money, in January of 2020. And like you said, I found all these sales reps and all across the US, like sent out demo models. I was doing training after training to educate these salespeople to go into surgeons' offices and go to trade shows and physical therapy clinics. And then boom, March hits. Boom. No in-person marketing, no in-person shows, trade shows, no in-person clinic. Patient surgeries are all canceled. Nobody is even going to therapy. I mean, I wish I could say that I was very quick and I just pivoted very quickly, but I didn't. I mean, I stalled. I didn't know what to do. I thought, if I just need to wait it out. I will create more materials. I will wait. And then, 3 months goes by. And still, it's now worse. 6 months goes by and it's worse. Wow. So, but I will tell you, in hindsight, I'm so thankful for COVID. I know it affected everybody differently, but because of COVID, I stopped marketing to the surgeons and the health professionals, and I decided to go straight to the consumer, the patient whose surgery was canceled, who couldn't go to therapy. Their knee pain was still there. They were scared. They were hurting. They had no solutions. So it's because of COVID that I decided to pivot and go after the patient themselves. And it has been the best decision I could have ever made. And I wouldn't have done that without COVID.
So that's a different kind of a toughness.
Yes, yes. I mean, there was other things too. My business partners, COVID was hard on them financially and personally. So, they exited during COVID. So it
Okay.
was a financial difficulties for me to figure out how do I continue to, to progress with the company without their financial and, emotional support. It was a
Get it.
really, really tough time. I mean,
Mm.
it was very difficult.
But I mean, kudos to you. You came out like a winner. You developed a new idea instead of going to the healthcare providers. You straight away went to the people who are really needed it, and especially during the time of our COVID. That's amazing. So I also want to talk about, like, what are the some things that you have been trying to move the needle in the business? I mean, you were hoping that it will work, but it didn't work the way. So why I'm asking is because there is so much pressure to only tell the wins. But I think the real education is in the stuff that didn't land. So can you just
I have so many. I have so many things that didn't work. Let me think. Let me think of it. No, I mean, I would say the biggest headache that has been and still is the penetration of the healthcare market, meaning getting surgeons to adopt something like this, getting fellow physical therapists to adopt
Mhm.
something like this. I did not realize how difficult it would be to get them to try a program, adopt a program, endorse a program. And so many patients will call and be like, my PT has not heard of this, or my surgeon says he doesn't know what this is. And that's been really hard for me because the surgeon doesn't know about it because he's not looking for me, and he's not taking my phone call because he's worried about the operating procedure and robotics and instrumentation and pain protocols and anesthesia. They're not caring about the post-operative protocol because they have therapists to do that. But then
Mhm.
my sister is also a physical therapist. She doesn't specialize in knee replacement recovery. So she is going and learning about concussion management or, sports related injuries or maybe cupping and dry needling. So I find that even physical therapists, we're generalists doing different things. And so I have become this knee replacement, chronic knee pain expert, but it's been really hard for me to find physical therapists that align with what I'm doing and surgeons who have the time and are willing to look deep into this program.
Mhm.
That's been my biggest headache, is trying to figure out how to do that. Do you spend tens of thousands of dollars going to these trade shows with these doctors that have no desire to look at the post-operative recovery? But my ability to connect with them, to figure out how to figure out what's in it for them has been probably my biggest challenge.
So are you trying to do something, or you do have some plans about reaching it out to them?
Goodness, this is a good question. I feel like I should have a really solid answer for that. I don't have a solid answer for that. I feel like if I
Okay.
had unlimited budget, if I had deep, deep pockets, then I'd be going to every trade show and I'd be going to every conference that the doctors are at. But
Mhm.
I just don't have that. And I want to put the money of the company back into getting the best information to the patient. I'm working on it. I mean, LinkedIn is slow. I've engaged with a lot of surgeons and a lot of large knee implant, like billion-dollar companies. I've talked to all of them, and but it's been really slow. I feel like I just don't have the connections. It's kind of like why Shark Tank exists, right? If I had the connections that Mark Cuban had, then I could call someone and I could immediately get like a pilot project started. I just don't have that. So if I could, wave my magic wand, it would be to find somebody in the knee industry that has all the connections that can make phone calls, because if they try it, they see
Mhm.
it. It's just a
Mhm.
matter of trying it.
Good. That would be one of my questions, but we'll get there.
Yes.
So this is the question I always ask something who is building something very like the way you have built it. Like, if you think about the GoKnee, like from 6 to 12 months from now, what do you have to be, what do have to be true to feel like that you are really in a very different place?
Um, that's a great question. I feel like in 12, if 6 to 12 months, if I had surgeons or healthcare entities across the US that were
Mhm.
consistently recommending GoKnee as part of their knee protocol, that would be a huge win for me. I feel like if I could find a strategic partner that was in the space and had the money and the connections and wanted to join forces with me, that could take GoKnee to a whole nother level. And then from a patient standpoint, I'm still trying to figure out Google ads and Meta ads and YouTube ads. And, so I feel like if I could really get that going on all cylinders, that would feel like a great win for me too. I mean, my goal ultimately, all of those things that I just described, I want to get GoKnee in the hands of as many individuals as possible so I can make an impact on their life. That's what I want to do ultimately.
And this kind of a conversation, is it going to matter to you? Because it's not just where it been, but it's where it will go, with all having the conversation on a different platform. So I get it. So I completely hear you. So are you just looking for the ideas, or are you trying something?
I'm always trying something. I feel like what I've learned as a business owner is you are constantly trying and failing and then getting back up and trying something different and failing. And then, and eventually something starts to work. I mean, I do. Since last year, there are a few surgeons across the US that do recommend. I mean, I just had one this morning, in Maryland. The surgeon told her that she had to buy this program before he scheduled the knee replacement surgery. I mean, that's a huge win for me. Now, has this surgeon spoken to me? No, I have never had words with this surgeon, but the fact that, he is telling his patients about it must mean I'm doing something right because he heard about it without talking to me. But no, when you ask about a plan, I don't have like one firm plan. I have probably 10 small plans going. It's like A, B, C, D, E, F, G testing all at the same time to see what works. But a lot of my success is through LinkedIn connections and LinkedIn posts and, commenting on other people's LinkedIn's to show that I'm in the industry and I do have insight and I have thought-provoking ideas. But if I had a lot more money in the business, I'd probably just, like I said, go to these trade shows and find them myself. I haven't committed to that yet.
Well, not a problem. You will be there. Don't worry. So, all right, I have to ask this one because it's everyone's mind. AI is everywhere in the healthcare, and you are in this space, and that is about the physical recovery. So, how are you thinking about the technology in the business right now?
Yeah. You know what? This is a great question. I resisted AI so much thinking that, it's my voice. My whole business has been set up on Shehla Rooney's expertise, her desire to help. It's my voice, my clinical knowledge. But I will tell you, it has been a game changer for me. And I know I've only just skimmed the surface, but in terms of helping me polish my email outreaches to the surgeons or on LinkedIn, helping me with creating content ideas and post ideas. I used to create everything from scratch and it was so time consuming. I mean, every video, every thumbnail, every blog post, everything was created by me, by my content. And so now I've been able to automate some things because of AI and it has been a game changer. And again, I just skimmed the surface. I'm still very apprehensive. I think my age, I have children that are young adults. They use AI for everything, right? And they've grown up with it through school. But with me, I'm still learning all the different nuances for how AI can help me streamline, scale, grow, expedite tasks that I do every day. Yeah, I do not pretend to say that I'm an expert in it, but boy, the amount of help, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, and then that's it all. Really honest take. And I think people in the healthcare who are being very thoughtful about it rather than just jumping on it. And it is going to be the one who use it best. I mean, of course, it is going to, as you said, it is a game changer, but how you use it and it can offload a lot of your back end work. It is going to make a lot of difference in your life and you can focus on what you really love.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, as a business owner, sometimes we get bombarded with information about AI, and it's hard for us to decipher what is relevant to us, what's important, because there's so much, again, just like healthcare knowledge, you get bombarded with taking this supplement, trying this, how are you supposed to, as a consumer, decide what information is the most relevant, the most important, the most valuable. So it's something I struggle with. I mean, every day I get emails that say, hey, here's an AI webinar, and there's so much information out there, but I am aware that it can significantly move the needle on my business, but I am still cautiously optimistic where I don't adopt everything. I feel like I still struggle with I don't want AI to take away my voice and my personality, because I feel like that's what resonates with my patients, the customers. And so, but yes, I am slowly, every probably couple of weeks, I do something new using AI, and I'm blown away with how much it can help.
Yeah. It's good that at least you are trying out your hand and you are learning bit by bit, of course. So here's one fun one, and I ask this to everyone, and I've already told you that this is going to be one of the questions. Again, if someone handed you 10 extra hours a week, completely free, no emails, no calls, no admin, what you are going to do actually with that time?
I am going to go play more pickleball. That's what I am going to do. There is not enough time in the day for me to play as much pickleball as I want. And if I could get 10 more hours, that's exactly what I would do. It would bring me so much joy.
I love that. And that's honestly, I think that's exactly the vision that keeps the whole things going. And we need to have some kind of a vision. And I love that you want to play a pickleball. Shehla Rooney wants to play a pickleball. Okay, here's the one I want to end before we close out. If you go back in time and sit with the version of you that was in the clinic, or maybe building something out from the hardware store and not knowing if it is going anything, if it is going to work, what would you tell that Shehla Rooney?
Oh my goodness, so many things. I think the very first thing I would say is it takes longer than you think, because I think I dealt with disappointment and frustration for so long, not realizing this is the journey of a product coming to market in healthcare. I don't think anybody sat down and said, Shehla, do you understand this is going to take this many years to do this much, this is how much it's going to cost. Are you prepared to do that? I didn't think like that. I just had a problem. There was a solution, it matched, and I thought it would be seamless, and it wasn't. So there's some books I would have told old Shehla to read to understand product adoption and marketing and sales, and just to let me know that, hey, this decision you're making is going to take you away from the clinical part and all this business part that, you don't know, you're going to have to learn and be okay with. I think if someone had a little heart-to-heart with me about that, I would have been more prepared, instead of this constant failing and feeling like I just wasn't a great business owner, when really every business owner struggles the way I do. I know that now, but back then I just felt like every day, why am I doing this? I'm wasting my time, and this is not what I'm good at. And it was difficult.
Yeah, I think she needed to hear that. And so did a few people listening right now. I mean, of course. So last thing, what next for GoKnee, and what are you building towards? And how can the people listening can support what you are doing?
Okay, that's great. Well, the people listening, let's start with that one. If you know someone who has knee pain and has been told that they need knee replacement surgery anytime in the future, please go to the website, which is, GoKnee.com, has the in front of it. They won't regret it, number one. Number two, if you have connections in the knee space, please connect me with them. I feel like I'm just waiting for that one company that's like ready to do what I want to do, and they have all the people waiting, and it would be a great partnership. And then what's next for GoKnee is I want to just continue to expand my digital marketing efforts to find individuals all over the world. I'm going to continue to drive hard on that and put a lot of time and effort into that, so that GoKnee can continue to get in the hands of the people that need it.